Hey everyone, I'm Daniel Bach, the co-founder and CEO of Pleo. We're building a new kind of technical customer support platform, and today we're doing one of our CX talks. And I'm joined by Jeppe Rindom, the co-founder and CEO of Pleo. Jeppe, first of all, thanks so much for joining me today and taking the time for a chat. Why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about your background and what Pleo does and maybe where you are today as a company?
Absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me. So we started Pleo almost 7 years ago now. Pleo is about setting up your organization for success, allowing them to buy everything they need in their working life. So no matter if you're out traveling, out and about, you need a Pleo card, or you're in the office buying stuff online, whether you need to pay a bill, Pleo's got you covered. We ensure that you can set up every employee with the right limits and all of that, and also automate your accounting processes.
Sounds great and really impressive growth that you have so far. And it's always, for me, very inspirational as an entrepreneur to be following your journey. But so basically, I've actually been a Pleo user myself, and I noticed that it's a pretty smooth customer experience, both from the first sign up all the way until when I might have questions for your support team. So it's pretty clear that you've invested time and resources into your customer experience. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about, for you personally, what does customer centricity and good customer experience actually mean?
Yeah. First of all, I'm glad that you're using our product, but also that you felt that this is a priority of ours. It's been, I would say, more or less instilled in Pleo from day one. We've tried to be really user-centric, both in terms of how we develop the product, but we've also just been very aware that adding a little bit of human touch to the experience just makes a ton of sense. And early on, we did tons of things that you say financially just didn't make sense. We would jump on our bikes to impress the customer and deliver the cards. We would, if there was a problem, we would go on the train or even in a flight to the UK and resolve it for the client. So we did a number of things that just didn't quite make sense financially or in time-consuming wise. But what it did was it instilled a way of thinking about your customers that still survives today. Mm-hmm. And Pleo as a word means in Latin more than you would expect. And that's fundamentally a value that we think about when we deliver customer experience.
Sounds great. I didn't know that actually, the meaning behind the word. But actually, so basically it sounds like you invested in customer support and kind of going the extra mile, like getting on a bike or fly to another country if it meant to do that.
Yeah. So
I think that customer support has gone from being seen as a cost center in a lot of companies to a driver for growth. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? And maybe why do you think that trend might also continue?
Yeah, I think more and more as consumers of these products, we start to appreciate the experience of the product and not just the price or actually what it does. And the experience is both, I would say, the actual digital user experience, but it's certainly also the service experience, right? And in order to be successful in the market, you need to be able to deliver that in a good way. The way we think about it is a couple of different things. I think, first of all, it just feels right, and it's just more exciting to make great customer experiences. I think we actually generate a lot of internal energy from that. We want to have an impact with our customers. But I think secondly, it also makes a ton of difference and makes a ton of sense from the business perspective, because in essence, our users they're viral. They use our product when they're with other people. If we leave a good experience, they will share the good experience. If we leave a bad experience, they may share that. Mm-hmm. Users change companies. They leave workplaces, join new workplaces. So I think, if you can leave a good experience with a user, they become advocates. So from that perspective, it also just makes a ton of sense growth-wise.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying basically you're trying to be proactive about your customer experience rather than just reactive, right?
We do both. We try to be proactive in a number of different ways, both adding human hands, but also in the experience in the product. Mm-hmm. But we also try to have the best possible experience when we are reactive. So that would be our customer support. Mm-hmm. So it's a combination.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. So I've also noticed a trend, and tell me if you agree with this or not, but it seems like customers are also demanding more and more from their software vendors. Why do you think that's the case, and also maybe the challenges that they might pose to leaders?
Yeah, I think yes. I think there's been this whole trend of really making your service experience more efficient. And a lot of companies has got in the direction of robots and stuff like that. And I don't know, how many times have you had a good service experience from a robot? I think none of us have really had that, right? So, I think to some extent, the space is polarizing a little bit. There are those massive, whatever, telcos, et cetera, that really tries to drive efficiency and they go in the direction of robots, but it kind of like leaves us all a little bit disempowered as customers and users. And then there are those that actually see it as a real asset, that you are able to be close with your customers. And I think those are the winners in the long run.
For sure. So would you say that, of course, it's also the hard part is scaling that as well. But I think you mentioned this in the beginning of our conversation just now, that sometimes you got to do things that maybe they don't scale, or maybe even financially they don't make sense, but it creates, like, it's an investment, right? It creates an experience that people remember. And and then the payoff might be a little bit not immediate, but it definitely shows, right?
It shows. And I think, the times where we could look at this in an isolated environment are gone. It's not that you can just think about the ROI for that specific customer relationship. You also need to think about that. But what happens in reality is, if you leave a bad experience, you run the risk that that person will go on G2 or Trustpilot and leave a bad score. And that is just so harmful for the business. So I think you need to think about this in a greater perspective all the time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. On a slightly different but very related topic, it seems like basically there's your customer support people and your customer success people. In most companies, they are kind of the first people who talk to your customers. They have hence more insight into the issues that your customers might be facing.
Yeah.
But a lot of times that lives from a silo from the product teams.
Yeah.
How do you at Pleo address that to make sure that there's no big gap between the knowledge in the support teams and the product teams?
Yeah, I think here we are actually, to be completely transparent, we're still learning and we're still improving. I think we've done a few things in the early days by always mapping out the different tickets and themes and making sure that product could access, what are the most requested items or the most often, sought after problems. However, I think the next iteration of that is moving the teams closer together. So we will be moving customer-facing teams closer together with product teams in a new organizational structure we're rolling out.
Are there any specific actionable tips that you can share on how to bring the product teams and the support teams closer together? Like, I don't know if you do some daily stand-ups or documentation that you might be doing for this.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the stage of your company, right? I think in the beginning where teams are small, et cetera, it's more of a cultural thing. I think that, these people are just close together, they share notes, and it happens by itself. As you grow, you need to start to add some structure. We are now reaching 550 people, and for us, we've had to reorganize around it. So actually now we bring those teams together in a business-centric environment. So we're not structured functionally anymore. So it's not that we have customer support and then we have product and we have engineering. We are structured around business problems or regions or segments.
That's
and
very
then
interesting.
all of the competencies required to be successful are in the same team and organizational structure.
Right, okay. When did you start to actually bring that kind of structure in? Is that more recent or?
That's very recent.
Okay.
We just started on that.
You just started, but was it something that, basically what I'm asking, is it something that you had in mind from the get-go that you wanted to get to this point, or did that naturally just kind of occur because of the demand from your users?
So it definitely didn't happen naturally. It's been a massive project to figure out exactly how to do that
and very deliberate,
and complete it. So it's a very deliberate effort. But I think what we were seeing was that structuring in functional groups just created a ton of dependencies between those functions. So every single problem you need to solve as a business were relying on competencies from very different functions. And as the company is growing and at the pace at which we are growing, it's hard to navigate. Where would you need to go, in which function, who has that capability and all of that. So it slowed us down. Instead, we said, hey, let's just organize around the challenges and the goals and the business opportunities we want to achieve and ensure that we have all the capabilities in place in those teams.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. You've been involved in quite a few other startups. You've built companies before Pleo and have also invested in a ton of companies. Is it something that you see that companies wait too long to structure their support teams?
I've seen different worlds. I think I would certainly encourage customers to instill that in the business as early as possible. And almost like before you go live with your product. That sounds counterintuitive, but I think it starts with just getting to know the pain the customers have, the user research part. And once your product is live, that would transform into customer service, like reactive, but also proactive, your onboarding, your engagement with customers and all of that. I think it has been tremendously helpful for us to have invested in that early on.
For sure. Makes a lot of sense. Jeppe, I think that was a really, really interesting conversation we just had, and a lot of actionable tips from your side as well. I want to thank you for your time and joining us today.
Thanks for the invite. It was fun.
Thanks so much for watching this episode of CX Talks with Fullview and our guest Jeppe from Pleo. If you want to learn more about Fullview, you can go to fullview.io. And if you want to learn more about Pleo, you can go to pleo.io. Jeppe, anything you want to share or plug with us before we sign off?
No, I mean, thank you for listening. If you're excited or curious about our product, go to pleo.io. We have a free version of the product. I think you'll find it helpful.